Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. So, are we going to experience the rapture? On TikTok, it's blowing up. Everybody's talking about it. We've had some other influencers that have talked about it. Let's look at it. See what's going on here. Is this something that we need to be concerned about, or is it just hype? Why people on TikTok think the rapture is coming and that the world is ending this week. A South African pastor says Jesus Christ himself delivered the news. The rapture is here. That is, according to worshipers on TikTok. People are convinced that the end of days will take place between today, September 23rd, and tomorrow, September 25th, and have prepared to act accordingly. All right, so the phenomenon stems from the evangelical Christian belief that Jesus Christ will return to earth and ascend to heaven with only his truest believers, leaving the unsaved behind to endure God's judgment for 7 years. All right, so September 23rd, today and tomorrow. So will we make it all the way through September 24th and at midnight? And nothing happens? Well, maybe nothing happens for most of us, right? But there's a few people, what was it, 144,000, I think, that do the rapture. So only the true believers will rise up with Jesus Christ, right? So, these things have come and gone over the years. It is just another hype, I believe. But there are some very I would say decent influencers that are actually talking about it as well. One of those is Julie Green. Prophecy for today, September 23rd. Many people are getting raptured worldwide. September 24th, 2025, the end has begun. So I don't listen to her all the time, but I have in the past. She's done fairly well in prognostications. She's followed by quite a lot of people. I think she's got millions of subscribers. Now, the one I'm looking at right here is probably somebody that stole her video, but her videos are, I think she has millions of followers, right? So she's, I guess she's prophesying that it's a possibility that's going to happen. Now, another one is Bo Pony. Bo Pony can put some outrageous stuff out there. He has also been accurate in some things. So let's listen. And this seems interesting. All the connections, whether you're looking at this as a possible rapture event coming today and tomorrow, or whether it's just another one of those promises that people make that don't come true. So let's look at this.
Cataclysmic end times related movies, you see this very subliminal but very clear message of September 22nd, 23rd, and 24th.
Seeking a friend at the end of the world, an asteroid strikes on September 22nd, 23rd, and ends the world. The movie Deep Impact, starring Morgan Freeman. The asteroid would strike on 9/22. Evan Almighty, he said the date of the flood is September 22nd. Is that when it's going to happen? September 22nd, midday? The movie Knowing, the date of September 22nd and 23rd, the Earth is destroyed by a solar flare. Little Shop of Horrors, you had this September 23rd event that humans will encounter a deadly threat. The movie Tomorrowland, disaster strikes on September 23rd. In NCIS, Do They Know 23? No. In Jim Carrey's movie 23, he mentions the date September 23rd as the day that hell arrives. In the TV show Sleepy Hollow, September 23rd, a new dimension is opened.
September 23rd, 1780.
Evil is released on September 23rd in the movie Ghostbusters. This is the End with Seth Rogen. September 23rd is the date that the rapture happens. In the movie Pandemic, the East Coast is hit with this pandemic on September 23rd. In the movie Labyrinth, evil consumes the world on September 23rd. Black Eyed Peas video, the calendar of the month. It goes all the way up to September 22nd, and then it just stops. TV show Lost, the plane crashes on a remote island on September 22nd.
With the people's date, September 22nd. was September 22nd.
The day to remember is coming. It is rapidly approaching as the summer is ending. As the summer is ending. This day will change everything, and your life will never be the same. It will be a marker in history, and everything in your life will be different before and after this day. This is the day you have been praying, hoping, and believing for. Fear not, as there will be much confusion and much will happen in one day. I am the great I am, and there is nothing that I can't do.
But this is for you, says the Lord. The tide is turning for you. A very strange thing shall happen in September. Moving into the fall where there shall be a great fall. Fall of the enemies, fall of kings, fall of princes. Watch and see, for God says beginning in September, I will turn everything around, and my people shall see an intervention of a kind that they have never seen before.
This decade will be the decade that you will never, ever understand how it started out one way and it finished out to be the greatest decade in human history. And 2025 is going to go down as the year everything changed.
All right, so that seems accurate. So we've definitely seen some major changes, and maybe we're at that precipice point, where we saw the Charlie Kirk event. It's basically pointing us in the right direction, or is it taking down the deep state? Now, President Trump was at the UN earlier. He was hammering the deep state of the UN, right? UN address. He was just going off. I heard a lot of it. I haven't watched the whole thing yet, but of course, there's some people think he made a fool of himself, depending on which ABC. So, full speech, Trump addresses United Nations General Assembly. Now, ABC is owned by Disney. And, Jimmy Kimmel basically got canceled. And now he's back on a week later, 6 days later, week later, whatever. And a lot of the affiliates, ABC affiliates, have refused to broadcast his show. Lots of them, right? The ones that have the most affiliates and have the most viewers. So there was one, I guess the young man that supposedly could replace Charlie Kirk. He's saying that from what he was hearing, that if they had not allowed Charlie Kirk to come back on, there would be rioting by leftists and they would destroy businesses, right? So they're looking for an excuse, in my opinion, right? So Jimmy Kimmel, really? Right? You're going to riot over Jimmy Kimmel? So they're looking for an excuse now, guys. It could be rapture time. Jimmy Kimmel doesn't come on tonight. We could see the rapture tonight, right? So just be ready. Be ready. You might be the one that gets chosen. You might go up to heaven, right? All right. I'm not making fun of it. It is, people have their beliefs. It is what it is, right? Now, if Jesus came and said, it's time for you to go, who am I to argue? So I would like, sir, yes, sir. And I'd be gone. So if I'm not here tomorrow, or the next day, I guess it's could happen the next day too. It could be because I did the rapture thing, right? So I don't know. I don't think I rate that strongly, but who knows? You never know. All right. So Trump on ABC, there is talk of ABC going bye-bye. Now, we've heard about some of these mainstream media types going away. So Disney, there was a woman on, I was watching one of what was it? CNBC or something, one of those the business news channels, and they had this one person on that was talking about how Disney could let them go because they're basically a drain on Disney's bottom line. And if they did away with them, because Disney, of course, has its own channel, and who watches ABC anymore, or NBC or CNN, they could just all go away and everybody be like, oh, when did they go away? So, they've been gone for a year. Oh, I didn't even know. I never watched them. All right. That's the way most people are now. So if ABC goes away, it will be one of those things that we've talked about in the past where we're going to see legacy media go away. All right. So ABC News, is still reporting. Fox News, Trump addresses world leaders at UN General Assembly. Trump lectures world leaders at UN. That's CNN, of course. He lectures them. He tells them how they're effed up, right? He goes after the deep state. He's telling them, you guys are all effed up. You've been letting all these people come into your countries, and you're still letting them come into your countries. We stopped that, right? And we're sending them back. But you guys still let them come into your countries. Now, he talked about like London going Sharia law. And I hadn't heard that. Maybe, Trump goes, he just basically blows things up out of proportion sometimes to get attention and get people looking at that. But imagine that. Now, I could see that happening in a couple of, cities here in America. And we got Somalis that are basically taking over, cities, Muslim extremists in Texas. So in New York. So now a lot of these places could definitely, if Trump is basically saying Sharia law shouldn't be happening, we might see some of these extremists here in the United States start to get their packing orders, right? Time to pack your bags and get out of town and go back to where you're from. Because he said that. He said they shouldn't be coming here with their problems and causing problems. And if they are, then they need to go back home and fix their problem there, right? Not bring their problems here. So it sounds like we may see some of these cities that have been taken over by Muslim and they're extremists, in my opinion, if they're talking, putting in mosques and, I can tell you, you do not, I just drank a big old thing of fresh juice, so blended. So that's kind of tickling me. But you do not want to hear mosques going off 5 times a day. I've lived through that for a long period of time. It's not pleasant, right? No, I love church bells. I don't know why there's a difference there. There's some people that have done and I'm very suspect about these tests, but they have said they had done the Muslim call to prayer, and it's of a good vibration. I don't get that feeling at all when I listen to it, because a lot of times it wakes me up. When I first come in the country, eventually I get to the point where it doesn't bother me anymore. It's just like, background noise. But I don't get a good feeling from it. Church bells. I remember being in Beirut. Church bells. I remember when I was a little kid, we still had a lot of churches that had bells. Why did they take the bells away? Right? They should bring it back, because I love the sound of those bells, and those bells resonated at high vibrational frequencies. So I don't get that from the Muslims, and I'm not trying to ding their religion. I don't really do that in any religion. It is what it is. All right. So, but here in the United States, there's some of these Muslim, I call them extremists, that are here in the United States. They're basically saying that these towns are ours now, and we will go Sharia. Sharia law is like, no, right? We have a constitutional law here in America, and bringing in Sharia law is not good. So anyway, President Trump was talking about that, how you Europeans are letting these extremists come in and basically tell you, after thousands of years of building your culture. You're allowing another culture to come in and basically tell you what to do. Not good, he's saying. And I agree with him. All right. So now President Trump, I heard him talking about how he had put in a bid for basically updating the UN. And it was a $500 million bid. And he said he would have made marble floors. He would have made the thing stunning. It would have been beautiful. And they didn't want his bid, and they took a bid that was for a lot more. And they paid out $2.5 billion, of course, and they don't have marble floors, and they have an escalator. He even mentioned it. Says I came in, your escalator doesn't even work. It looks like they're still working on the building. So after 10 years, however long it's been. And he says, and I'm looking at the teleprompter. His teleprompter doesn't work either. So yeah, it's a mess. So we know that wokesters and leftists, everything breaks and doesn't work. So the UN, I say it needs to go bye-bye. All right. Everywhere that I went where the UN was, guys, overseas, they hated the UN. Of course, we're told that the UN goes around the world and creates peace. But President Trump was talking about how the UN funded all of these illegal immigrants coming into the United States and other countries. The UN funded it. So we pay the UN? I say, stop that bullshit. No. That thing needs to go bye-bye. All right. It was started by the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds anyway, to basically control the world, a new world order. That's why they started the UN. It looks like they were pretty successful until Donald Trump came into America, at least. So he's basically scolding everybody that you guys are allowing the UN to basically fund people all over the world to come into your countries and basically make you subservient to these people that are coming into your country that have horrific, they're running from countries that are horrific on many different levels. And they're bringing that to your country and you're allowing that. So I thought that was really good. He said a lot of other things, of course. He scolded the UN. He scolded the Europeans and a lot of other stuff. So I'll be looking at more of that conversation he had. I thought it was personally, I think it was fantastic. It was basically an exposing the deep state, right? And how it's just taking over the world and causing problems all over the world, and the people, and that everybody needs to be aware of it. Now Trump also talked about how Russia, he's basically, he told the European Union, you guys need to buy oil from us. That'll put Russia out of business and they won't be able to afford the war anymore. But the European Union is like, screw you. We're going to go ahead and keep buying Russian oil. Now, it's crazy to me because they blew up the pipeline that was bringing Russian oil in at a very, very low rate, right? And a lot of the European countries have really taken it on the chin for that. So now it's being shipped through different suppliers. And of course, it's going through tankers and it goes through intermediaries because they're not supposed to buy from Russia, but Russia sells to intermediaries. So it ups the price. And then intermediaries bring in the oil and the Europeans buy it. So, and Trump said that this is unbelievable. It's probably the first time it's ever been done where one side actually pays for the other side to go to war against it. Of course, we know that Ford Motor Company during World War II helped build tanks and all kind of crazy stuff for the Nazis. So maybe not the first time, but there has definitely been some funding anomalies, and Trump was saying this is the way he fixed it. So now Trump is like, screw it. He's just throwing, like he normally does. He's just throwing all kind of crazy comments, and that's just basically to throw people off balance. and he's a master at that. Some of us are thrown off balance. We're like, nice shot, right? Charlie Kirk, that was a nice shot, all right? Not literally, of course, but figuratively, the way they worked all that. 11 days. In 11 days, they had one of the biggest Super Bowls ever, right? So that stadium that they're at, the State Farm, all right? It's a farm. The State Farm Stadium there in Arizona, basically, it's had like, I think 7 different Super Bowls there, something like that. I saw that. I don't know. I don't know. So they did a Super Bowl that had more people view it than any Super Bowl. There's like 100,000 people that were there. I guess they did. I looked where on a Telegram post where they recorded 177,000. Was that accurate? Something like that. I'd have to pull it up. 177,000. No, 277,000. I'm looking at it right now. So it says our tech partners tracked over 277,000 devices in and around State Farm Stadium yesterday. They came from all across the country because Charlie pointed us all to Christ just before the rapture, right? So, and in his martyrdom, given us the courage to do the same, right? So nice little post. You could take that multiple ways, of course, that they're basically spying on us, right? So how far does that go? I don't know. They've been spying on us for so long, and it's like, all right. But that doesn't make it good. That doesn't make it right, of course. But anyway, so 277,000 devices that were there for the Charlie Kirk event. So we heard there was 100,000 that were watching, but in and around there were 277,000. Now there was another thing that I saw where 100 million people had watched it. 100 million people. So not only can they follow 277,000 around the State Farm, but they can also follow and see 100 million people all over the world. Right? So that's interesting. So a lot of people, I think, going in a positive way. We'll see, how it goes in the future. But regardless, President Trump is like throwing stuff around, right? About Russia. It's like Ukraine could have all of the land that Russia took. No, not ever again. So I don't know what he's about, but that's the way Trump works. He throws everybody off balance, and they're like, "Where's he going with that?" But somebody probably knows. Probably the deep state knows. All right, the deep state knows that Trump and Russia are working together. All right, so let's look at the military summary, and let's look at how Russia is basically taking apart the Nazis in Russia or in Ukraine. Well, part of the new Russia, I guess. So here we have all these different cities that have fallen, right? Military summary. Kalnidsk has fallen. Berezine has fallen. The decisive moment of the offensive. The battle for Novopolivka has begun. Berezove has fallen. Devastating strike. Serebryanka forest has fallen. The key battle began. So as you guys can see, the Zaporizhia counteroffensive, massive daylight strike all across the country. So it looks like Russia is doing some serious ass kissing, or kicking, not kissing, but kicking, all right? Kicking some serious ass, all right? I would want to be on the winning side, all right? I never thought that Ukraine was going to win. I always thought they were losers, and they were proving that. So we saw their Battle of the Bulge. I pointed that out where Ukraine basically went into a very small area of the border. That's like, if you looked at like the Canadians coming down through a little forest in Montana, and saying, look, we took so much of the United States. That's kind of what Ukraine did. And then they got spanked, right? They got mauled, just like the Germans during the Battle of the Bulge. And I said, this will be Ukraine's Battle of the Bulge, because after the Germans did the Battle of the Bulge, it was like their Hail Mary, just threw the ball up there and hopefully one of their guys catches it. It didn't happen. The other side caught the ball and they're running it back into the end zone and scoring. Right. So this is basically what's happening. Russia against Ukraine. Now, let's look at some other posts. There were at one time a lot of posts from Ukrainian lovers. And now, speaking of Ukrainian lovers, remember that one guy that was at the Trump Doral? Was it Doral or one of his golf courses, and was attempting maybe to shoot him as he came by, and he was discovered, and then he ran away, and they caught him. Just went through trial, I guess, and they convicted him of all counts. So he tried to take a pin and stab himself in the neck, in the carotid. What's going on with that neck stuff, right? That girl on the train got stabbed in the neck. We had Charlie Kirk got shot in the neck. And then we have this knucklehead basically tried to stab himself in the neck with a pin, and he got stopped. So, yes, I don't know what this neck thing is. It's like trying to control speech, I believe. That's what I think. It's a speech thing. All right, whatever it is, it's very odd, quite unanomalous at this point that there's been all these attacks against throats, right? Speaking centers. All right, so Ruslan Bevlov, he says disaster in Kupiansk. 700 Ukrainian soldiers trapped. Russian army seized the majority of the city. Collapse in Seversk. Russian forces encircled the city, cutting off Ukraine's last escape route. Total chaos in Ukraine. Mass surrender as soldiers raise white flags. Zelensky in agony. Kupiansk and Seversk all but lost. Soldiers' eye march on Kyiv. Pokrovsk. Defense collapses. Russian forces enter the city from a new direction. So there's been a lot of defenses that have been set up, and the Russians are just going around them and cutting off their supply lines and starving them out or attacking them from behind. So the pincer movement stuff that I talked about many years ago, I said the Russians need to do pincer movements, and here they are. They're doing it very successful over the last year and a half. I think about a year and a half ago, I said the Russians will now start an offense that will basically take all of Ukraine, and eventually they will they'll be in Kyiv, and Putin will come and celebrate on Christmas. Right? So I don't know which Christmas that's going to be, if it's going to be this one or next one or what, but it's getting close. It's getting close. 3 cities on the brink of encirclement. Panic sweeps across Ukraine as Russia seeks a decisive blow. So at some point, they're going to pretty much destroy the Ukraine army. They've done that in many areas, and they've moved very quickly across the landscape. But at some point, they're going to really take out. There's another major city before Kyiv, Kharkiv, I think it is, and it's got over 1.5 million people in it. So I think they're moving basically all around it and moving closer to it. I think they take that city. It's going to be the end. It's going to be the end. I think they take the port city of Ukraine within the next several months. They're definitely moving in that direction, just like I predicted. So all the things that I predicted are about to come true. So the Russians have their supply chain set up better than Ukraine. Yes, Richard, absolutely. So, and they not only the supply chain, but also they can create supplies. They can create supplies faster than the entire NATO alliance combined, even the United States. So they're producing more helicopters, more shells, more bullets, more missiles, bigger missiles, aircraft, everything on a massive scale that dwarfs anything that any other NATO country can throw at them, right? So that's, to me, I'm going to welcome the end of this because Unfortunately, no military guy likes to see anyone killed. Once you've been in battle, you're like, this is all bullshit, right? So, but unfortunately, sometimes you have to do it. It will happen in U.S. cities coming up, right? That's coming. So it's coming. When it happens remains to be seen, but it's moving very, very quickly in that direction. Now, I think we're going to see their arrest coming soon, very soon. Everything seems to be lining up for that. All right. There's different talk that's coming from different people about how other people like Joe Biden, took a $200,000 payoff. Marjorie Taylor Greene was talking about that. I posted that on my X. So a lot of this stuff is getting exposed. So they've already got all these guys. Of course, I think Joe Biden gone long ago, but they still have to put a lot of this information out for the people that haven't awakened yet, right? So the Charlie Kirk incident. So now a lot of people believe this really happened. It's okay. I don't care. It doesn't make you smarter or less smart either way. The main thing that's happening is more people are waking up and moving in a direction that is going to destroy the Luciferian deep state, right? So, and that's the way it has to be. And look at those two trees back there. I don't have horns on my head. So got somebody in there's like, look, he's got horns on his head. But no, they're like, remember Julius Caesar, how he had that when you win? That's more like that, right? whatever that thing is that you put around your head. It's the crown of winning. What is that? Somebody throw that in there. So who's going to win? Who's going to win the little thing that you wear when you're successful in battle and you come in? So I'm not going to do it right now, but anyway, it'll pop up here. It's a wreath, not a wreath, but kind of like that. Laurel leaves. Yep. Yes. Laurel leaves. Yep. The wreath of laurel, something like that. Right. So, and then, sometimes they would have somebody who would hold it over their head when they're in the chariot. So it wouldn't fall off or whatever. I don't know. Of ivy. No. So it's laurel leaves. Yes. So a lot of you guys got it. Thank you. Not a tiara. No, that's a women thing. And not a crown of thorns, but the wreath crown of yes. Laurel leaves. All right. Laurel leaf crown something. All right. That was fun. Thank you. It's fun to get involved here, right? Yeah. So that's what that is. So the laurel leaves of victory. So I feel victorious always. Right? Got to have that mindset, right? All right. So San Francisco. Now, San Francisco is collapsing. A lot of housing prices. I did a show earlier where I basically gave everybody why you should not be in real estate. And if you got out of real estate 2 years ago, like I said, and invested your winnings in real estate into silver, which I know a lot of people did, and got out of the stock market for most part, not completely, because I didn't think it would go up this much, but it has. And I've done well with it. I do well when it goes up and down, up and down. It's like, it's going to go down now. So I'm not perfect, but I do quite well, right? So, and those good when I win in the stock market and I get the laurel leaf crown in the stock market and in crypto, I take those winnings and I put it in silver, right? And then I invest some more, and then it grows, and I put more in silver, and silver's doing so good now. All right, so from that wealth, massive wealth that's being built in silver, more than any beyond my wildest dreams. But thank you, God. I listen to God now. I stopped trying to believe that I was smarter. So a lot of you guys are still out there thinking you're smarter. Listen more to you, the intuitives. All right, whether they're women, which are very good at intuition naturally, unless it's worked out of you, right? And then you can do my courses and get back to it. But most people that go into intuition never go back, right? So you're like, God, I was so stupid back then. Why didn't I go to intuition earlier? God, all that school training and friends and family, they don't always have good meaning or good intentions because they want you to fail like them, right? Like they are failing. So if you want to do well, be intuitive, and it works out really good. All right, or listen to intuitives, and that will work out really well for you as well. So here is some information about San Francisco. Now, this is Scott Walters. He actually wrote to me and said, "Thank you for talk about me on your show." I rarely ever get anybody say thank you because I promote them. Unless they do a show with me, and then they're very thankful because then they like blow up, right? I remember I had one person on, and this is just one person. I had dozens and dozens have this story, but they came on and they've been on many shows and they talked about their product, and I thought they had a really good product, and then I remember seeing them like over a year later, and they said, we did your show and we basically just stepped away from everything else we were doing because we had so much that came in that we were extremely successful. Thank you. So Scott Walters, very appreciative. And he doesn't have to be, I think he got great information. So let's listen to a little bit of it.
They still warrant the same price. I think these prices are still somehow going to be able to be achieved. And they're not. We're seeing the days on market spike. We're seeing price reductions cool off in a reverse course in the housing market. And San Francisco is a massive, massive trouble. So without further ado, let's jump over, take a look at a current listing in San Francisco. Then we're going to meet back here and wrap it up. Let's get started.
All right, friends, buckle up, strap in, roll up your windows, and lock your door.
All right. So all those are distressed properties in San Francisco. A year ago, this chart wouldn't exist. No one would have thought this except for me, right? That I said 2 years ago, things are going to get really bad. It's time to get out, get your money. But people think that, these bubbles will continue to blow up and forever. And of course, history's not been kind with people that think that way, right? So Scott does a really good job of explaining this one, and this repeats itself all over the country. Now, this is just one condo, but we have condos all across the country, especially in big cities like this.
So we bring up today's crash map, courtesy of our good fuzzy friends over at Zillow. Everything on your screen is, in fact, going through the kiss of death, stuck on the market, chasing the market, going through price reductions. Let's jump over and take a look at today's featured San Francisco listing. All right, let's go ahead and tour today's property. And as you can see, this is in fact a luxury condo. But what you can't see is this property is actually unoccupied. It's sucking air. No owner, no tenant, nobody. This thing is actually vacant, been staged. And unfortunately, they're paying for a property to be staged while it sits stuck on the market. They are bleeding dollars in a massive way, but it gets better or worse, depending on how you look at it. Let's go ahead and dig in to some of the numbers. Today's luxury San Francisco, California condo sits stuck on the market at approximately 2.6.
All right. So this is what's been happening for a lot of properties. People saw, the massive spike that happened after the Fed dumped massive amounts of money into the system after COVID. All right, made free money for everybody, and a lot of people took advantage of that. I never got any of that. That's okay. I'm not held accountable to taxes or anything like that because of that. Now, a lot of people have also not paid their mortgages on a massive scale. During the Biden administration, he made it a law that people couldn't be foreclosed on, and they could continue to basically sit on property and not pay. So we're going to see on October 1st a massive shift in a lot of these people that have been taking advantage of this for a very long time, in the millions. So this is going to flood the market with even more housing that's already higher. The housing that's on the market right now is even higher than 2008 timeframe, where we had a stock market crash because of a market in housing turned down. Now we still have the market like the crypto and all that stuff. We have stocks and so forth that are still going up. Crypto is going back down a little bit. I think that's a buying opportunity for a lot of those people out there that are kind of pushing it down so they can get in at a lower rate before it goes up. But we're seeing the stock market pull back just slightly. It hit new highs today. All three indices hit new highs, and it's basically pulled back a little bit before it goes higher again. All right. Now, you're going to continue to see the stock market go up. So if you're still in stocks, you're still going to see some benefit from that, but you should be taking some of that money and should take a percentage of that and have it in silver, because silver's up over 50% so far this year. And stock market is not. All right. Stock market, I think since Trump came into office, is up 21%, and that's the NASDAQ. That's a lot less than 50%. All right. So if you guys have been following me when I said it's time to get out of the stock market and get into silver, and a couple of years ago where I said it's time to get out of housing and get into silver, you would be extremely happy with me, and you should be, right? But if you haven't listened to that yet, it's not too late, right? So you can still take advantage of this. And the time right now is 5:55, so that means I'm right? So doesn't mean I'm right. It just means God shines on these things and says, look over here, look at that number. You're helping people. So that's the way I look at it. Anyway, this property right here was around 5 million, and they're slow rolling the numbers down because they think that it's going to turn around and go back up. Right. But they're still trying to get out at, a decent price. So he goes on and he points that out. Now this has a HOA, a housing fee that you have to pay. That's almost $4,000 a month. $4,000 a month in homeowner, whatever that thing is, HOA. All right, so crazy. Who wants to do that? Nobody. It's probably gone up, just like in Florida. It's gone up massively, the HOAs. So that's another reason not to buy right now. All right, now look at this price right here.
2.5 million. They're stuck on the market.
All right, so they started putting this on the market back when it was almost 5 million, over $4 million. It's down 42% in the last 2 years. So again, if you listen to Mike and put your money in silver, you wouldn't be like in this particular piece of property. If it were to sell right now, they would be down. I don't know where they got in at, but from the high, they would be down 42%. Now, if they had invested in silver over the last couple of years, it's up over 100%, right? Doubled. So which would you rather do? 42% down in the hole or 100% positive? That's 150% round trip, right? Just about. So that's some of the things that I like to point out to help you guys become the masters of your reality. Like I talk about in my first intuition course, become the master of your reality. So this is the way you do it. You start to look at these things and you're like, that's housing bullshit. So I'm not gonna buy a house. I'm going to rent because I won't be paying all the crazy, homeowner fees or, insurance that's skyrocketing, tripling, doubling, quadrupling, tripling, quadrupling. Should have gone in that direction. But same thing with, taxes. Taxes have been going sky high because everything's been going up. So if you've been sitting on the sidelines and just renting and waiting to ambush, right, instead of running out in the field and getting slaughtered, which a lot of people have been, it would definitely work in your favor. Now, we're going to continue to see some problems with the weather. I think the good guys have been maybe keeping it at bay, or maybe the deep state is like, let them get comfortable, right? And we're not only we're going to hit them with crazy weather, but we're also going to hit them with earthquakes and tsunamis and all kinds, and not just in America. I'm talking the world, right? So there was another massive hurricane. It's still out in the Atlantic. I think it got up to Cat 4. It's curling around and it's heading for Europe, right? So just because the United States thinks it's okay, Europe's going to get that. Europe's going to get a lot of rain, right? And a lot of snow. So snow is going to start falling in the next few days. Because remember, Mike said we're probably going to see hurricanes and snow, right? Colorado is going to get some snow here in the next few days. Colorado mountains. Now look at this. Here's a couple of hurricanes that could possibly impact the U.S.
Update that Invest 94L has shifted a little bit further towards the west, showing an even more westward push going towards western Bahamas potentially, and maybe even affecting the east coast of Florida. Still could get pushed out through the east-northeast, but it could be really close towards the coast, or it could turn inland, getting blocked by the high pressure and going west instead of east. Showing it is at 60% still in the next 7 days, 20% in the next 48 hours. Still spreading heavy rainfall off and start strengthening up, and it could wobble towards the west a little bit, or more likely get pulled out through the north still. And you can see right past this, it could go right towards the coast, either a little bit west towards Georgia, so towards South Carolina. You've seen a big group here of a lot of strong possibilities of something to form up.
Wow, look at all those hurricanes. No, that's just different models where it shows potentials. So you see heading down to Key West, all the way up in Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, different strengths, all kind of crazy stuff. Doesn't mean it's going to happen like the rapture. It may or may not happen, right? So just something to just be aware of. But, I saw a lot of these things hitting the United States, and they haven't yet. But there's been many times where I thought I was wrong, but I ended up being right. So I just share God's word. All right. So, and if we wake up and we decide that we don't want that, and we pray and we focus, then it doesn't happen. So that's my belief. So we as a human race basically are changing. We're developing. We're learning that we are the masters of our reality, like I talk about in my intuition course, right? Become the master of your reality. Right? It's great. It's a great name, right? There's been thousands of people that have taken that course. It's amazing. All right. So, and I just had somebody, and I used to have like every day people would buy all the courses. And it's like, I just had over the last several weeks, I've been talking about the courses again. People are going in there and getting all of it. So really good. I'm very happy. I love to see people learn the good stuff and not the crazy stuff that's going on in some of these universities. New study reveals widespread DNA contamination in Moderna and Pfizer vaccines. Duh. All right. So we've talked about this for so long, and now it's coming out in real science. Remember when they said that we didn't have real science, that the other guys that were pushing the vaccine and all that stuff, that was a real science. And all the masking and the mask Nazis and all that crazy stuff and staying at home, losing jobs, losing businesses. God, I wish all those people would be held accountable for that. I believe they will at some point, but in the meantime, it's still wakey, right? And who still gets vaccinated? Who still does that? Right? It's sadly probably a lot of people, and probably a lot of people. Even though there's been tremendous amounts of information that's come out about, how bad the vaccines, especially for children. I think that maybe the problems that I had with my lungs and asthma as a kid and so forth was from vaccines, right? Because I got them as a little kid, and then I started having all kind of problems, and I just thought, my DNA has me with asthma, although no one in my family had it. So that's pretty much what I feel. And that sucked growing up with that problem, but I grew out of it, fortunately. Why? Because I became master of my reality. I said, screw this. I'm gonna every time I would walk home from school and I get a little bit of wheeziness. And I remember reading about this one Olympic athlete that she had asthma and she just started running. And I was like, dang it, I'm going to run too. So I became a great runner and it just went away. It's like, wow, it's amazing how that works out. Become the master of your reality. All right. So the study, which examined 32 vials from 16 unique lots of Pfizer and Moderna vaccines, used two methods to quantify DNA contamination. So potential health risks and regulatory criticisms. It's a slow roll. I guess they figure if they just a little bit longer, they'll forget. They'll forget, because that's normally what happens. Or, we'll get some kind of regulation where they can't do anything to us. Now, I think they're going to be held accountable. And I think that we're moving in the right direction for that. President Trump has moved things in that direction. Of course, RFK Jr. has moved things in that direction. They came out with the autism thing yesterday. I haven't seen what they were talking about. But it looks like things are really going to turn around on those. And they're really going to get slammed very hard. The people that push that, I think a lot of them have already gone bye-bye. All right. Fauci and Bricks and Burks or Burks. I think she's gone because it was like a totally different person. Kind of like, that person that plays Charlie Kirk's wife. There's like a couple different ones. And I know some of you guys don't want to hear it, but you gotta wake up to this stuff. Because I look at President Trump saying, screw Russia. I'm like, we know that you guys are working together, right? And you're taking down Ukraine, you're taking down NATO Nazis and so forth. But he has to play the game to a certain extent. He has to make those comments like Operation Warp Speed, all the different things that happen. I think those are fantastic. Those were basically taking down the deep state, little by little, right? Central casting, that's right. So you guys know. President Trump talked about central casting a lot. Look at central casting. Look at him, central casting. He said central casting so many times. He doesn't say anymore because he's like, he's already told us. If you're not aware of it by now, it's like, you'll catch up eventually. But meantime, we see a lot of this stuff and we're like, oh yeah. And we're taking care of business. We're getting some of our stock in silver, some of our money out of the stocks, but in silver, and selling our houses before they collapse. So we're doing the right things. There's a lot of different things. That's it. Yeah. Did somebody say that I'm Michael Jaco 2.0? And that is, yes, MJ, they're gone. But there were people that were saying I was 2.0. Remember that? And that was when I started using LifeWave, right? So they're like, oh, that guy's so young. He's got to be 2.0. And I was like, oh, it's so funny. And I remember Juan O'Savin was like, give me shit about it. And I was like, Juan, they said the same thing about you. And then they said that I'd been taken down to Guantanamo and executed. And I was like, I forget what they said. I had the option of being hung or shot, and I chose to be shot or hung. I don't know which one. And then Juan was laughing at me. Jacob. I was like, oh, really? So I showed Juan where that guy had said the same thing about him. And he's like, oh. Yeah, it's all fun and games until the real shit hits the fan, and they're getting it, right? So it's going to be good. Yes, it's going to be good. Now let's look at the Drudge Report. So Drudge, which used to be the thing, it was the only one. I remember when I was in the CIA, we would be like, what's the Drudge say today? You know, we'd be talking about the Drudge Report. And then they sold it to like liberals. Like, what the fuck? Of course, you know, I used to talk like that, but sorry about that. I slipped. All right, slipped back in my old ways. All right, and let's look at this clown show of you know, online magazine or news. In major shift, Trump now thinks Ukraine can win back all of its territory taken by Russia. Yes, it's part of the movie, right? So that you guys like Drudge and ABC and CNN will report on that. And everybody will go when Russia wins and takes over all of Ukraine and the deep state's done because they threw everything at it. Not even Poland. Poland has said they're not going to send anybody because they were saying they're going to send 10,000 people into the border and into Russia or into Ukraine. Now they're saying, no. Right? We've already lost thousands of Polish that have changed uniform and put on the Ukrainian uniform and got slaughtered at the Russian front. We're not going to do that anymore. And that's happened with Brits and French and Americans and you name it. There's been quite a slaughter fest at the Russian front, just like in World War II. If someone screwed up, they sent them to the Russian front. Oh, yeah, you're going to the Russian front. Well, but I thought I was doing good. No, Hitler said no. He didn't like the fact that you were doing good, and he looked bad because you're doing so good. So we're going to send you to the Russian front. That's kind of the way the deep state is, and the Democrats and the leftists. They always lose because they're stupid, right? Eventually, they're going to do stupid. So when you know that, then you start to look at stuff like that, like Trump now thinks Ukraine could win back to blah, blah, blah. It's like, you guys are screwed up. You're stupid. Ruthlessly mocks Paper Tiger Moscow. Yeah, like all that stuff I showed you. They're Paper Tiger, right? Yeah, okay. He knows. Dumps Putin. Relationship didn't mean anything. Because he was basically trying to get, you know, the exposed NATO, which he did. Because he said, we can win this war if you buy fuel from the United States. It was going to cost them, but they would have destroyed Russia. But they wanted to go with cheaper. And so they're funding the war. They're funding the war. So he exposed that. See how that works? And now they're saying, Trump said they could take it all back. So it's like, God, I love it. I love how he works them. So he went scorched earth, like I talk about the UN. Your countries are going to hell. Right? They are. They're satanic. They've taken in satanic rulership and so forth. Reveals plan for AI to control biological weapons, escalator brakes, teleprompter brakes. It's a shit show at the UN. He could have fixed it for $500 million and made it way better. Marble floors, and they don't have marble floors. They got like cheap ass floors, and everything's breaking. Now look at this. New York City telecom threat foiled. Cache of devices plot to crash cell network. So the UN, with, of course, their deep staters, they're supporting the deep state. So they were basically stopping 911 calls in certain areas through the UN, so that their gangs could make money stealing and so forth. And this is happening across New York, where gangs are, going into malls and all kind of crazy stuff, stealing, going in houses, stealing. This is happening on a massive scale in California now. And I'm going to show a little bit of that. All right. So this is Cash Jordan. He doesn't need any help from me promoting his site because he's got 1.5 million people, right? But it is good to point out, people that are really doing a good job. And I think Cash is he makes really good videos, right? He takes information, puts it together, and, it's kind of like me. He laughs about it. He makes fun of the stupid people that, do all this stuff. So let's watch a little bit of that. Gangs empty LA Plaza as California's let them loot policy implodes.
Top of that sanctuary state status, things just keep going in the wrong direction.
Law enforcement arrested 3 members of a burglary crew from South America. Police tell us this crew is linked to burglaries across Southern California.
Now, 3 people taken into custody around 2 this afternoon on Fremont Street, right in front of the Da Vinci Apartments. In fact, one of the people in custody, detectives say, lives in the apartment complex. Detectives with the Ventura County Sheriff's Department say they've been working this case for some time and decided to make the arrest when they saw the 3 alleged thieves.
So right off the bat, these criminals, they've been breaking into homes and apartments for over a month now. And the news also tells us that they're not from the United States. And here they are committing these home invasions in a place that protects people from deportation and won't turn you over to ICE if they arrest you, which makes you wonder if the sanctuary status criminals enjoy has anything to do with what attracts them to a place like this, where once they arrive, they find out that local laws are generally powerless to stop criminals because, as the news tells us, there's just so much crime going on all the time.
All right. So when I was in the casino business as a security manager, we would have people that would burglarize the casino. We'd have it on video. We had all the proof. We would stop them and hold them for law enforcement. Law enforcement would show up, and if they, and this is in Utah, California was a lot worse. They had the same policies, which was right across the street, California. But, and if we had somebody that would run over to California, we'd be like, there's no way we're going to be able to get them back. So California, we had really good relationship with the Utah police, but not so much with California, right? California, their laws are just like handcuff the police. So if they came in to the casino and they stole something, it had to be on a certain threshold. It had to be above $995. So anything below that, they would give them a misdemeanor and let them go. If it was above that, and we could prove that, then they would arrest them. That's crazy, right? What the F? Right? If they steal a little boy or a little girl's doll or his little drum set or whatever, they should go to jail, right? But they would come in and steal, and we basically run them off and don't come back. Even though they said we get the stuff back from them, because we had security monitoring cameras and everything. It's like these guys were stealing, so we come in and kind of like sneak up on them and then catch them. It's like, okay, put it back and don't come back ever again, or we'll arrest you for trespassing. So, and that's how we would get a lot of people trespassing. So we give them warning. They come back on property. It's like, no, we caught you stealing, You have to leave the property. We'd have to give them 3 warnings, 3 trespass warnings, and then we could arrest them, and we could arrest them for trespass. That was most of what we would arrest people for. So people come in and all drunk and falling down and, cussing and trying to start fights. We basically tell them, all right, we wouldn't arrest them for drunk in public. We would arrest them for trespassing. We'd say, okay, you need to leave because you're a drunken idiot. I wouldn't say that, but when I showed up, everybody calmed down and they're like, yes, sir, we're out. So, but my staff, they, would argue with them and so forth. But we would, the ones that were really bad, I would say, okay, I'm giving you a trespass warning. You have to leave. And they would like argue. It's like, you don't have the right to like make me leave. Like they had some kind of right to be there and be an asshole and cause problems and steal and cause fights and all that bullshit, right? So I was like, no, you have to leave. Here's your second warning. Ever give you a third, we're going to arrest you. And that's how we arrested most people, for trespassing, right? So all of this criminal activity that you see, unless it meets a certain threshold, they can't be arrested. And they have to have it on their person when the police catch them, or they get off. Crazy.
It's impossible to lock up everybody at once. But what's truly shocking is these people, they've been on a spree for over a month, and they had to get to the top of the criminal food chain here to even get any police attention. That's how overwhelmed law enforcement is. But now the problem is these folks are being taken into custody by a legal system that intends to release them as quickly as possible.
Up into an unoccupied parked car. That's when they were taken into custody. People who live in the Da Vinci apartments say they are thankful everything happened without anyone getting hurt.
We heard that they tracked down a criminal organization and some of those people were living in our building. So I'm very happy to hear that they've been found out and taken care of. I would say in general, we don't have really any fear or concern living in this building.
Well, look, nobody's got any fear or concern of living anywhere until it's too late. And the real problem is this has not been taken care of. This is a sanctuary state. Every criminal that gets arrested, if ICE knows they're in the country illegally or they're visiting, and now because they're committing crimes, they can be deported. If they say, hey, why don't you hold on to these 3 home invaders who've been robbing homes for a month? You know what? The police and the jailers are not allowed to cooperate at all. They have to release those people. They're not allowed to honor those ICE detainers. And this is why you see ICE agents raiding so many businesses in places like California, because they're not allowed to go and get these criminals in the jails after they're disarmed and have already been arrested. They have to track them down when they're in the community, blending in, living seemingly normal lives while they're actually federal fugitives with extremely horrendous rap sheets. But the other problem is even criminals who are in the country legally benefit from the way.
All right, so this is what's happening all over California right now. These flash mobs. We've seen these flash mobs all over the country, but in California, it's at the ridiculous level.
California operates, because where else can a 12-year-old kid get away with 6 years of crimes, stealing things, and never facing any consequences before they hit 18 years old, at which point they'll be a hardened criminal who's essentially got a master's degree in theft before they've even graduated high school. With a system in place that not only protects criminals, but also trains them and raises them up, it's no wonder we got rampant crime in this place.
Now, we haven't confirmed that these people were part of a criminal organization.
Now, this is one of the things that Trump ran on. He's going to make America civil again, right? Civil, so that we can have discourse and not have people shoot at us. Right? Civil, that we can basically arrest people for criminality, and there should be consequences. When I was growing up, I can't even imagine that. I can't imagine any of that. The parents would have came down and like kicked everybody's ass, right? And the police would have been like, yeah, good job, right? There wouldn't have been any court cases, because the judges would be like, what are you doing? I'm gonna because you're in my court, I'm gonna make this 4 times worse. Right, you're going to go to jail for 4 times what you normally would. So that's the way it used to be. but it's been a slow, defilement by the Democrat Party and the leftists.
Detectives tell us that they are all in their 30s, and evidence like camouflage clothing was found in their car. Now back here live to see.
That's crazy.
Is clear, but we do have detectives who are serving a search warrant inside the Da Vinci apartments at the apartment where one of those men.
So look, if these people have a safe house in this very same building, they got a car full of camouflage. To that, an unwillingness to fund local police departments. Well, pretty soon, in fact, this is happening already, there just aren't enough resources around to stop the bad guys when they come knocking with their crowbars and pickaxes. And remember who these criminals are. These aren't people who woke up one day and just decided to do this for the first time. These are people with years of experience. And here's another way to look at this whole crime situation. Many of these people, they've got half a decade or more of criminal history behind them. They've been stealing for years, which means they've got more experience being criminals than the police have training in the art of taking them down and even making arrests. California is creating these people by refusing to punish them when they steal even the smallest of items. And look what that leads to. That leads to businesses and homes getting cleared out en masse. They've gone through it all. They've battled arrest, evaded police, and then they've escaped justice after the courts set them free, leaving the law-abiding and businesses like this one sitting ducks.
Hard to believe that everything was taken within a couple minutes, literally in minutes. They came and they took everything from us.
And the new surveillance cameras Jennifer Paciente's father installed capture what's now put the family business on the brink. The burglars broke through walls of an adjoining business to gain access.
They made holes.
They broke into two businesses.
They brought like a saw to drill through the safe.
Yep, that's what they wanted, the safe. And you see here, that's what they found, full of those MoneyGrams and the family savings, an estimated haul of $100,000 in cash.
Wow.
This is the third time.
The third time that this place has been broken into. And they had $100,000 sitting there. Now, I know that some of you watching this are going to say that, hey, these people are idiots. They shouldn't have. Without jails, without people in those jails who've been convicted of crimes, this whole cycle is going to continue. People are going to continue doing things like shoplifting. They're going to do it so much that they then decide to go after bigger fish, to do break-ins with tools that you use to climb a mountain. They'll break into.
All right. So this is happening, obviously, on a massive scale. We haven't even seen the weapons yet, guys. We haven't seen the weapons come out yet. The weapons are coming. All right. And the weapons are going to be devastating. And it's going to be crazy. We've already seen the weapons in other places. We saw them in New Zealand. Remember that one shooter in New Zealand that went to all the mosques and so forth? I called bullshit on that right away. That was basically some kind of BB or pellet gun, or I used to go out with a group and we used to like do paintball shooting, running through the woods and doing groups and all kind of stuff. I'd help train those guys. It was a lot of fun. But that one shooting where all those people supposedly died, they did not die. In those mosques in New Zealand, that is something they're trying to do to basically take our weapons away from us. Now, at some point, it's not working in America, worked in Canada, worked in New Zealand, worked in Australia, pretty much all of Europe, and probably South America, probably the guns eventually come out. The guns are going to come out, the real ones, right? Because they've done what they can to take away. In California, they limited the number of magazines you can have and guns and all kind of crazy stuff, and gotten away with it. And some of the northeastern states as well. This is going to be very tragic for those people that are going to try and protect themselves at some point. So you'll see fairly massive loss of life in those areas that basically have taken away the guns. And same thing in other countries where they started taking away the guns. And I know in Canada, it's a more recent thing, so people still have their guns, so they'll do better. But in Australia, it's been a long time. They took away the guns, and everybody was like, yeah, let's give up our guns. It's the right thing to do. And maybe there's a few people who still have them, but on the most part, no, not so much, right? New Zealand, pretty much gone. So they're at risk, heavy risk, because this will be a worldwide thing that's coming. Pretty much every country throughout the world has had massive immigration problems. And that's the deep state basically moving us to the point where they're basically going to take over the world. So we're going to have to fight back, unfortunately, and stop that from happening. Now, President Trump is doing the best he can. That's why he was at the UN, thrashing all of the countries that have allowed these criminal aliens to come in. They need to be pushing back. He's giving the example of the United States. So trying to shame them into doing it. Maybe their populace will start to push back and will demand for that to happen. That's the only way it happens, guys. So if you don't start to get involved and start to push back and start to get involved in your local cultures and towns and so forth, and push back on this, it's really gonna come at you in a bad way. In Australia, during COVID, it got way out of control. Same thing in Canada. They were basically putting people in concentration camps, especially in Australia during COVID time frame. So they pushed a long way. Then when people, grouped up and started to push back, they brought out direct-to-injury weapons on people, burn people, all kind of stuff with direct-to-injury weapons. So those governments in some of these countries are like way out of control. So you're gonna have some problems going forward in those countries. All right. So Argentina assets soar as Vicente, that's the here in the United States, the money man, offers Melu a lifeline. So basically saying that their market was in panic mode. Scott Bessent came in, and our U.S. Treasury Secretary said all options are on the table for the Trump administration. So Argentina was definitely where the Nazis went after World War II. There's Bavarian cities in Argentina. We know that basically the Germans took over the Argentine political class. Don't cry for me, Argentina. So totally took it over. And that is being turned around by Melu. And so now we have Melu and U.S. President Donald Trump will meet Tuesday. So the stocks in Argentina today or yesterday, I don't know when was this? September 22nd. So yesterday, stocks blew up. It's and they were crashing. And so they blew up because he's basically taking down the deep state in Argentina, the Nazis in Argentina. Russia's taking down the deep state in Ukraine, and in the process destroying NATO. So there is some, of course, President Trump is saying Russia bad, but on backside chance, because he just had Putin in Alaska, rolled out the red carpet, literally, for Putin, and I'm sure they had some nice conversations, right? There was a time where I used to be in on those conversations, so I'm glad I wasn't in on that one, because you don't want to hear what those guys talk about. Right? It's not something that's pleasing, I can tell you, because there's a lot of manipulation and control out there, and they awaken you on a level. It's that's, and so I know a lot of you don't like that going on right now. You're like, oh, I really want to believe that Charlie Kirk got shot, and his wife that was really her, and she was crying for him. And there's going to be a beautiful movement for Charlie Kirk, and I really want to believe all that. It's fine, but I think at this point you should be using critical thinking and seeing through that. But it is what it is. All right, so that's a lot. That's a lot. I did a lot of research today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Appreciate it. Lots of love to you guys. Stay in the love vibration. I will see. Yes, bye deep state. All right, absolutely, Janet. I will see you guys next time. Stay in the love vibration.